We are rapidly approaching the point of no return. We are rapidly approaching the point where too much power, too many nodes are held by too many anti-whites, and in some cases, very vicious anti-whites of specific alien religions who in the past have treated white people worse than you can fathom white people have ever been to non-white people, at least according to my reading of history. There'll be no recapturing our destiny by any means once we go past the point of no return. So, this is a sign of the approach to the point of no return. The anti-whites holding so many positions, nodes of power, so much cultural power by way of the social morality in the West, that even though for generations white males have been treated with greater scrutiny and given longer sentences, according to my reading, they still wanted to formalize it. When you are a white guy, does anybody remember the endless number and parade of white guys who, when they go on trial and you get an opportunity to see it, see that the white guy is the white race on trial, and that the judge or judge panel, the en banc or the jury, the grand jury, the prosecutors are all acting on that social morality, that anti-white immoral imperative in the West to victimize the white race. The prosecutors who decide to interpret the laws to work in the favor of anti-whiteism and against white males, against white people. This has been going on for generations. I told you all very explicitly about this for many years, that the anti-whites can leave everything written as it is. They don't need to change any of the laws to continue getting and to exacerbate their anti-whiteism and arriving at anti-white conclusions. Why? Because what's written doesn't matter. What matters is the social morality, and therefore the interpreters. They are the ones that matter. The prosecutor, the judge interpreting the law. How many times do we see the anti-white, non-white rapists, murderers, etc., getting pecked on the wrist, and the white girl who defends herself with mace going to jail? That's because of the interpretation of the laws motivated by the social morality of the West, which is where everyone else has chosen to ignore, and to ignore me, and to ignore the House of Swash. And it is the place where the battle is actually fought. They don't need formalized law to arrive at anti-white outcomes. They were doing it before they formalized anything, and it was continuing to get worse. And we're clawed back, like in the United States, they will continue arriving at anti-white conclusions. Make no mistake about it. And you people who want to disagree, you'll be complaining in due time, about how did the woke come back? Or how are they still doing that despite? And then the really dumbasses out there will be saying, guess there's nothing that can be done, even though you came to a place and saw where something is done. So what happens is, and what you see Donald Trump, for example, and Doge in the United States clawing back so much of. By the way, every time an anti-white says to you, there is no discrimination against whites, everything that Doge is taking away, 90+% of it, 95% of it is literally victimization of the white race. And then if you want to broaden the definition to a parallel victimization, it's up past 99%. in my opinion. Everything you see them clawing back are things that anti-whites foolishly put labels on. That's what's happening with the anti-whites in the UK right now. They are drunk with hubris. Town after town in the UK falls to anti-whites, and the white race, as a bunch of squalid little wretched, selfish little individualists with these different siren songs of formerly defeated vehicles and ideologies, all clamorous and cacophonous among them as they flee with their pants falling and trying to pull them up from the conquering anti-whites. The anti-whites say, well, we'll just go ahead and put it in law. We'll write it. Error. It's an error for them. But it tells you how late it is for us. Anti-whiteism is the application of the law, application of the law, policing, judge and jury decisions, sentencing, and more, has been in effect for generations by way of anti-whites in decision-making positions, but more importantly, by way of the anti-white social morality of the West. Anti-white power, but also unintelligence, is such that hubris drives them to codify the most blatant anti-whiteism. For anti-whites, this is a false start on the final phase of their victory. For us, it's a sign that we are approaching the point of no return. I want you to reflect on the laws passed in Rhodesia and in South Africa, two formerly white countries. The anti-whites there, drunk with hubris, entering the final phase for the existence of the white race. Instantiated, concretized in law, these things that they were already achieving, indeed, in fact, in effect. Why hasn't it moved any further? Why hasn't the needle moved any further in Rhodesia and in South Africa? Why haven't they just taken the final steps to the white problem? Why hasn't that happened? Because of the UK, because of America, because of Canada, because of Australia. What countries will defend us when it's too late for us?